Good morning. I'm Javier García, Deputy Director in the Commercial Area in the Directorate of Logistics Services in ADIF. As one of the team members responsible for the development of Simple, in cooperation with the Ministry of Public Transport in Spain and Puertos del Estado, first of all, and before starting the slideshow presentation, I would like to thank RailLive the possibility of introducing Simple to the railway sector in this event. And what is Simple? Simple is a technological platform that will allow an integrated and digital management of documents, data and information flows, linked to the multimodal freight transport between the different nodes and modes of the transport chain, and aligned with the European Union transport policy and the Spanish mobility strategy developed by the Ministry of Public Transport in Spain. So, this digital platform could be used by any Spanish company and public administration with affected competencies in order to manage all documents and information flows related to B2B, B2A, and A2A services in the transport of goods from the origin to the final destination. For example, bookings, transport orders, delivery and reception orders and confirmation in freight terminals, loading lists, custom formalities, and so on, regardless of the mode of transport, road, maritime or railway mode of transport, and nodes, ports, railway or inland freight terminals, and so on. Beyond of the operational use of this digital platform by the transport chains, Simple should be also scalable to ensure expected performance, taking into account not just new digital services and marketplaces, but also increases in the number of transactions per user, interaction with IoT devices, and expansion to the air traffic field in the future. Simple will create new opportunities for all parties involved in transport and logistics chains by changing the way traffic and goods flows are organized and managed. Therefore, Simple is a strategic project for the logistics and transport sector in Spain and will help to put Spain at the forefront of Europe in the use of technology to improve the efficiency and sustainability of freight transport, as promoted by the European Commission within the framework of the Digital Transport and Logistics Forum, DTLF. Once Simple must be a digital solution for national, import, export and intra-European transport flows, and from the railway point of view, especially with exchange of information, data and document flows to other digital platforms in the Mediterranean and Atlantic corridor. To be interoperable with this digital platform is mandatory. That's the reason why the Ministry of Public Transport in Spain, Puertos del Estado, and ADIF decided to participate in a CEF initiative called EU Project Federated, in which Simple is one of the 21 pilots LivingLabs. The main purpose in federated project is to validate the principle of the concept of a federated network of platforms that would form the foundation for a trustworthy and interoperable business and administrative data sharing infrastructure for freight transport and logistics. In addition to that, one of the main challenges for Simple is to assure the traceability of goods, transport means, and information flows by means of combining and reusing data across modes and nodes. To comply with this challenge will allow Simple to be an important driver of efficiency and simplification, a robust digital solution that will contribute to cost reduction and the better use of existing resources and infrastructures based on the next core operating principles. To be a collaborative platform, allowing data to be entered based in the principle only once, and considering data sovereignty, allowing data to be shared based on a specific data sharing policy, and contributing to the harmonization of data across modes, specifying a semantic model as ontology that support various standards in use. To be a trust and secure platform, creating trust among platform and participants and ensuring data confidentiality and security, facilitating the interconnections between public administration with affected competencies and of this with the different agents of the private logistics sector, as well as interoperability with other digital solutions on the market, complying with existing regulatory framework as well as any technical specification in force, such as TSI in railway sector, and finally, to be open and neutral to any participating party. So, the functional architecture required to support this core operating principle and the B2B, B2A, and A2A services to be managed by Simple will be based on the concept of the national or local window. This national window will manage the exchange of information, data, and documents related to the services and functionalities, here described in the diagram: visibility, traceability, routes optimization, and so on, and manage all communication with the entities involved in these logistic flows. For those who do not have their own system for their cargo management, will be able to use the Simple platform in their local windowed mode. And of course, this functional architecture, as we said before, will be designed in accordance with the ability to harmonize the information of the different flows, with the different actors involved, to be transparent to users whose systems have participated in a particular logistic flow, and the concept of the journey of goods that assure the traceability of goods during the logistic flows. Before describing the technical architecture, I would like to mention the governance model of Simple. This governance model will focus on defining member roles and responsibilities, decision-making mechanisms, and conflict resolutions, and the weight of each member on the platform on issues related to service, platform, data management, and platform security. Particular consideration will be given to the legal and operational risks that could arise from the participation of different members. In particular, attention will be paid to aspects of co-opetition, conflicts of interest, compliance, data protection, privacy, digital identity, incentives, and information security. And next, the technical architecture for the platform is composed of the on-chain architecture based in blockchain components. The blockchain architecture is based on Hyperledger Fabric Network and will consist of 3 core nodes reserved initially to the Ministry of Public Transport in Spain, Puertos del Estado, and ADIF, that will cover the role of validators and establish the consensus algorithm in blockchain, and 6 peripheral nodes, non-limiting, that only record an availability to access information associated with their operations. Through this structure, Simple can guarantee the immutable and secure registration of all information and documentation whose traceability is critical, guaranteeing not only who and when it recorded, such information, but also the response, confirmation, validation or rejection by the administration or any other entity with authority to do so, allowing a complete audit of the operation generated by the simple platform. On the other hand, the off-chain multi-layer architecture based in microservices, in order to provide services to the involved actor in multimodal freight transport. The system architecture will be based entirely on open source solutions, designed for good performance, high availability, and scalability to meet current requirements and future growth needs, and a high storage capacity to store multiple years of information. The operational availability of Simply will be at least 99.95%, measured over the period of 1 month, being able to operate 24 hours a day, 6 days a week throughout the year. A critical concept in the design of the technical architecture is the model of integration with stakeholders and security in all these interactions. Access by third parties will require the use of identification and authentication. To do this, Simple propose a solution that will offer identification application, which will be able to establish a unique identity linked in a unique way to a person or system. Authentication, that will be the process of verifying the identity of the user. At the time the user attempts to access the system, they must present a unique identification. Authorization is when once the user has been identified and authenticated, the user may or may not access the various services or functionalities offered depending on the defined authorization model. And finally, digital signature, that will be used in business processes to ensure integrity and not repudiation of information exchanges between Simple and other systems. And finally, the project for the design, development, or implementation of Simple digital platform is scheduled to be running in 30 months. Once already started at the end of last month, and in which the main milestones are a maximum period of 6 months of the first beta version to be implemented, a final first version that's supporting all the functionalities and services provided on the platform in a maximum period of 18 months, and a platform maintenance service from the production entry of the first functionality up to 1 year after the production entry date of the last contracted functionality. During this period, a customer service and a technical support will be provided, available 24 hours, 6 days per week. Thank you very much for your kind attention. In the case that you have any question, don't hesitate to contact with us, and I hope we may see each other in person as soon as possible in another Ray Live event. In the meantime, take the best care of yourself and your family.